Good evening, everyone. I'm Dominus Orbis, and today I'll be doing Packet Tracer 5.4.1.2. It's the NAT Skills Integration Challenge. Now, note on the CCNA certification exam, there will not be a NAT simulation. So, it's kind of just 6 packet tracers over NAT in CCNA 4 and also in CCNA 2 there's a whole chapter over NAT. So I'm not quite sure why Cisco kind of drills that into our brains whenever there's not even a single question on the CCNA about NAT. But regardless, it's very important to understand how it works and what it does. So we're not only going to be doing NAT, but we're also going to be configuring VLANs, trunking, port security, secure shell remote access, inter-VLAN routing, router on a stick, and NAT. So the first thing you need to do is complete the addressing table here. For the administration switch, which is on VLAN 60, and all of these networks for VLANs 15, 30, 45, and 60, which I've already done here. We're only going to be configuring the admin switch, the admin router, and that's it. Let's get into it. On the switch, configure remote management access, including IP SSH. All right. Admin switch. Okay, we got the secure shell. Let's go ahead and configure a name and assign VLANs. Ports should be manually configured as access. So we're going to need this. There we go. Looks like we just have the default VLANs configured, so let's go ahead and configure the VLANs. And let's confirm by viewing the VLAN table. There they are. Okay. Let's figure out which port is going to be trunking. This port here, going to the admin router. So it'll be a gigabit 111. Do we even have a port like that? Yeah. See, the more you do Cisco, the more you realize how many mistakes they create whenever they're making these packet tracers. Actually, the port that will be trunking and native up here should be 01, gigabit 01. Okay. Let's get at it. Interface range command here. No shut. Alright, let's go ahead and switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 15. Up arrow, up arrow. And just continue, up arrow. There we go. Configure trunking, already did. Implement port security. On F01, allow 2 MAC addresses that are automatically added to the configuration file when detected. So that's going to be the violation mode restrict. Port should not be disabled, so not shut down, but a syslog message should be captured if a violation occurs. That is a question on the CCNA. It's the violation mode restrict. Disable all other unused ports. You know what we should do is create a black hole. First command, switch port security. Repeat it. Put the violation mode in restrict. Allow 2 MAC addresses, maximum 2, that are automatically added to the configuration. Sticky. Disable all other unused ports. So we got 1 through 20 are being used. There we go. That's what the black hole's for. Shut down the ports, put them in a VLAN of its own, one that's hard to detect, I just use 999 because it's a random number, but you could do whatever number you want as long as it's not VLAN 1, which is the default, or one of these legacy VLANs. Okay? Gigabit 01 is not trunking yet because why? Because R1, the other side of it, has not been configured yet. That's why. Sorry, admin. Okay. We're done with the switch. Let's move on to the router. Router configure inter-VLAN routing. So let's just go back to the addressing table here and go one by one. First step, go to the physical interface, gigabit 00, and do a no shut. There we go. Now let's create our sub interfaces. They automatically come up once you create them. Don't forget to encapsulate it using the .1q protocol, 802.1q. It's an open standard IEEE. And then here's where you put the VLAN ID. Don't forget that 45 is native. That means that the traffic is not tagged. So it doesn't have an ID tag for the VLAN, for example. It looks like I made a mistake here. Let's just go back. You know what I forgot to do? Set the default gateway on the switch. and configure the management interface of VLAN 60. Okay, we're good on that. Let's go back to the router. Configure VLAN, inter-VLAN routing, done. Configure DHCP services for VLAN 30. This is why you need these network statements up here. Use LAN as the case-sensitive name for pool. Implement routing. All right, let's start the DHCP. Here are the networks here, too. Should always exclude your first 10 addresses or however many you need for routers, switches, servers, printers, etc. Static IPs that will not change before configuring the pool, because once the pool is configured in DHCP, those addresses will automatically be distributed or issued out on the DHCP request. VLAN 30, right? This is a /26, so 192. Default router is going to be the 10.10.10.193. We don't have a DNS server. Done. Next, OSPF. This is routing, very basic. Disable. I already got some adjacencies. Disable interfaces that should not send OSPF messages. So the one going to the internet, obviously, we don't want to broadcast those packets. To the internet, and then the one going to the switch. So all three of these. Right here I made a mistake again. Okay, it looks good now. Except for 45. Alright, back to OSPF. We already disabled the interfaces. We already configured the network. Now we need to have a router ID. There we go. Alright, now we're cooking. What's next? Default route to the internet. Do show IP route connected. IP route. It doesn't say to use the exit interface, so I'm just going to assume that's what it means. Let's see if Packet Tracer adds me a point. And it does. Okay, we're good. NAT. One statement, standard ACL, number 1. It's going to be access list 1. Permit 10.10.10.0. Zero zero zero. What is it? 255. Done. Static net for the file server. Okay. IP NAT inside source static. Inside local IP, that's going to be 10.10. This guy over here. And then inside global, 198.133.219.130. Done. Now we need to configure my interfaces. Do show IP interface brief. Interface Let's look what we got. Alright. Hostname admin, excluded addresses right there. Got my LAN DHCP pool network right here for VLAN 30. spanning tree per VLAN spanning tree. Got my inter-VLAN router on a stick. Inside and outside addresses on NAT. My OSPF, my passive interfaces, my network, my router ID, my ACL, and my static NAT, and my default route. Looks good. What do we got to do next? Configure dynamic NAT with PAT, so it's overload using a pool of your choice and a 30/30 CIDR with these two public IPs. Okay, well, as you all guys know, and ladies too, what the pool name will be is my tag, Dominus Orbis, of course. Now, you know what? Yeah, that's good. Now you have to bind that ACL to the NAT pool using the overload command, which I always forget. There we go. Let me see. Configure dynamic NAT with PAT using a pool name of your choice. Then we need to go to the IT support PC and set up DHCP, and it should come through. Okay, so I went back to look at the results because I'm not getting 100% here. But the router is done. The switch, however, says I have an incorrect username on the secure shell. Admin. It's a recurring problem with this packet tracers all throughout this entire year that I've been doing these videos. Sometimes the secure shell username will not actually give you credit even though it's correct. But I did forget to do the line VTY, virtual interfaces. And there's actually 16 on this switch. login local, transport input SSH. That's what I forgot to do. Let me in. Nope. Let's try again. It's not accepting my username. Anyways, the activity is complete. It just Cisco packet tracer sometimes doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Verify VLANs assigned the appropriate. We already did that. Port security is in force. You can do that by doing a show port security. Verify OSPF neighbors and a complete routing table. There's my OSPF neighbor table. And my OSPF routes. Administrative distance. Verify NAT translations and statics. Here's my static here. 50% of my pool is being used. Inside PC should be able to access a web server. Looks like we're good there. We're good there. And we're good there. So I'm not sure why we're not able to SSH in here. I'm typing in the admin wrong. Let's try this. There we go. Okay, now we're in the switch. So as you can see, I did in fact configure the shell correctly, but Packet Tracer refuses to accept my configuration. So it's actually all 100% correct. So I want to say once again, I am Dominus Orbis, and I hope this video has been informative, and I want to thank you for viewing.